Hello, MJ Schwab here. Uh, Still battling the tiring effects of COVID from last month. Still a little exhausted, a little tired, but doing a lot better. So, um, this week's prompt is interesting to me because I can go right into my subject for this um, for this class, and that's Dr. Leverett Bradley. What I feel is important about the um, the period, the postbellum period, but really also the 1800s as well, is the idea that uh, this American excellence uh, spawned greater technology. So, of course, the easy things to see about entrepreneurship are things like, say, Rockefeller in the 1880s and 1890s with his oil wells in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, and the robber barons, of course, of the railroad, and that is really important because of its geographical and historical implications. You have, I always think of Harm Blay and his Power of Place book on locals, mobiles, and globals, and I won't go into this hugely, but the idea is you have these cultures and societal issues all coming together between the locals and mobiles. But what I will talk about, though, is globals. I don't normally talk about globals, but for this class, it's very important. And a global is simply someone who you have the locals who are locals, mobiles who are moving in to them. Whatever happens there is whatever happens. But the globals are the people who have the power. And it's not political power necessarily, it's technological power or money or being the head of something, being in charge of something that has those things. The robber barons of the railroad would of course be a perfect example, but also people who invented things. Dr. Leverett Bradley is interesting because he's not one of the biggies, but he influenced some of the biggies. Thomas Edison, of course, is the one that he influenced greatly. From the readings this week, we talk about federalism and how it doesn't interfere or isn't supposed to interfere with um, entrepreneurship. And I think that has a lot to do with, I think that's how we wound up with monopolies later on in the 1900s. But I think that's how we became an inventor nation, a technological nation. And Dr. Leverett Bradley was a big part of that. Now, he invented something called Bradley's fiddle sounder, and he was proud of this. He had worked in telegraphy with the telegraphs. This is what this has to do with. It's a combination galvanometer, and rheostat that measured electric forces. This invention was used worldwide, and Bradley quickly became a significant player in the manufacture and sales of telegraph keys, relays, sounders, and switches. So you're thinking, oh, telegraph, what does that mean? This means nothing. Well, it means a lot because these electrical impulse uh, generators and regulators came into use later on in switchboard technology for the telephone and for the telephone itself. And of course, Thomas Edison, who would eventually move into Bradley's um, warehouse, his workshop, and this is pre Menlo Park, Thomas Edison, 22 years old in 1869. And Dr. Bradley became an influence for Edison. And Edison wouldn't have even gotten started without Dr. Leverett Bradley. And so that's what I think of this era. And this is, a prime example, and he talks about his inventions and that and others do as well. Edison kept on family members after Dr. Bradley's death. There are many Bradleys that worked at Menlo Park. C. Bradley, of course, is one of the major ones who did a lot of Edison's early experiments at Menlo Park. So this is very important for this era because it's this not just entrepreneurial spirit, but also this invention spirit. You know, things that we would see later on with the car and the the airplane. These were just, you know, they're nothing compared to what we have today, but these were the start, and they influenced it, and they shrunk this distance decay, another geographical term. Um, and they shrunk this distance decay. At the beginning of the 1800s, we were walking west. By the end of the 1800s, we were flying down rails. So, thank you.